G'day legends, welcome to the Thursday Sesh on Celtic Down Under. I'm your host Jared, and joining me as usual is Willie. How you going, Willie?
I'm going all right, Jared. I've had a busy few weeks. Another week where I haven't stopped for a few days now, so good to sit down, take a break, take a breather, and talk about Celtic with someone for a change, other than work or family.
Poor Willie, you're living in the Ange Ball era still, aren't you? You know, we don't stop. There you
Yeah,
go. Good fun. Yeah, so it's been interesting with international break. There hasn't been much to talk about. Somehow we managed to put together a pretty hefty little run sheet for tonight's thing, so I'm looking forward to the show. So get involved in the comments. If you haven't done so, hit the like button on this on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you haven't done so. If you're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all our social media channels are on the screen. So jump on, find them, give us a follow, help us just build the Celtic Down Under huddle up. So yeah, we'll start off with the main thing. So what we're going to do, the main event of it all, is Kasper Schmeichel injured his left shoulder playing for Denmark. So there's talk he's in for an MRI. He's in a sling. Could be out for the rest of the season. Some people have reported that he'll be out until the end of until about September. People are saying that's absolute rubbish. So yeah, disappointing for him. Is this a major concern? We're going to talk about who will replace him next, Willie. So is this a major concern for us in the run-in for the rest of the season?
I wouldn't say it's a major concern. I mean, the league's all done, but done and dusted. We've just got to win a couple more games and it's over the line. The cup, well, Rangers are out of the cup, so we'd be expected to go on and win that as well. And for me, I think we have a decent backup for a change in Sinisalo. So I'm not overly concerned by it. I am concerned about the severity of the injury. Yes, absolutely. Casper's a pivotal player for us. I mean, the passing he's added to the back, he's comfortable collecting the ball in tight situations when there's players bearing down on him, which Joe Hart would never do. It gives defenders an extra option, but I think we have quality there in the squad now to cover this position. So yeah, I hope it's not a serious injury, but I think we have the strength and depth there in that position to make sure that the position's not going to, his loss isn't going to be felt too much.
Yeah, so for me, much like what you said there, Willie, I think it's the whole thing where the league's pretty much done and dusted. It's there or thereabouts. We're 13 points ahead, if my memory's right. We're 3 wins in the league away from stitching up the title there, right? So we're not far off there. It's more for the Scottish Cup semi and then the final that big game player, we know what Casper will do in big games. He's been there, done that, got the trophies to prove it. Sinisalo is unknown. But at the same time, we've been talking about him on the pod for, all season. Like, I can't wait to see what he can do. And so it's Smelt the Gloves saying here, he's looking forward to seeing what Sinisalo can do. Heavy Vibes are saying we've got good backup and defence, so no worries for the rest of the season. Pork Chop Express is saying we've been itching to see Sinisalo, but some are a bit worried now we're actually going to see him play. I'm fine with him. He'll do well, hopefully. And Smell the God saying Casper actually hasn't been great the last month. Excellent before that. So the thing I'm looking at, and we'll just roll on into our next topic, the back of the injury, will it be Sinisalo taking the place between the sticks, or will we see a return to the first team for Scott Bain? Just having Bain come onto the bench gives me the fear, let alone the talk of him possibly starting, which I've seen on a few blogs, and I'm like, why? Why bring in Sinisalo? Like, the Aston Villa fans and their support base was absolutely blowing up deluxe when Sinisalo got sold because he went for just over £1 million to us, and they rated him highly. Now, he's not going to get a game over Martinez at Villa, and Joe Gauci coming in from Australia to be the backup is pretty much pushed him down to third string there. But him coming in at a club like Celtic, I look at it and go, he's a Finnish international. He's been training under Kasper. He's working with Stevie Woods day in, day out. As far as I'm concerned, this is the perfect scenario to to have that production line that we talk about and bloody young player. He's 20, what, he's 22, 23 years old. So I think it's the perfect time for Sinisalo to stake a claim, get in there and show us what he can do.
I'm 100% behind you on that. I mean, we've seen him against Raith Rovers. All right, he didn't have an awful lot to do, but he was comfortable enough with the ball. He seemed to be comfortable enough with the ball at his feet. He seemed to command the defence. Not that, again, he didn't really have an awful lot to do in the game, but he commanded the defence well enough. And we saw it in pre-season as well. He played a couple of games there, and I think the game he played in the United States, he did show he was quite comfortable taking the ball in his feet there too, and he made a couple of good saves in that game as well. So I have no concerns about Sinisalo coming in. I think he's a level above Scott Bain, and Scott Bain is he's a DJ on the bus or something. You know what I mean? He's there for quota reasons in the Champions League, and that's about it. But I have no qualms about Sinisalo. Yeah.
Bain's the one who brings the playing cards for the poker games in the back of the bus for guys like him and McCarthy and everyone else that's that far down the list.
Yeah. Nah, I'm just interested to see what Sinisalo can do. It'd be nice to see him get 3 or 4 games on the bounce to sort of see what sort of consistency he has about him. If it's like, you know what I mean, is there a mistake in him? Is he commanding in the area? Is he going to come out for crosses? Is he going to be a keeper that stays on his line when the cross comes in? We don't know, and these are questions that will get answered over the next 3 or 4 games. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, I'm just having a look at something quickly about Sinisalo because I've completely forgot it from when I looked it up previously. I just want to see the size of him. Like, I think he's quite a big unit too. Yeah, he's 6'3", so he's not a small goalkeeper. So like talk is I heard from a few Villa fans back in the day, like when we signed him, that he was good coming for the high ball, commands his area strongly, and he's good with the ball at his feet. His biggest weakness is his shot stopping. But when you've been working under Caspar, whose biggest strength is probably his shot stopping and he's playing with the ball at his feet, it's perfect scenario. So, yeah, I'm just going to bring up some comments here, Willie, from this. So, Smell the Glove saying, if it's Bainzo, the fans will be furious. The Pork Chop Express is Bain's okay, folks. I can't really remember him throwing games or having howlers every game. He played at 3-2 at Ibrox, didn't he? Yeah. The thing is, Bain hasn't really done anything massive to get the hate. For me, it's more he's been at the club for so long, and sometimes players just get to the end of their tether. And I would rather, if we're going to spend bringing Casper to mentor a young up and coming keeper like Sinisalo, and spend some money on him, I want to see Sinisalo more than I want to see Bain. Like, the reason I said the reason Bain gives me the fear is because I know how some fans will react to it. And if he was to get in there, then okay, if he had to go in and play for, like, say, crazy scenario, if Sinisalo was to get red carded because he clattered into Shankland or whatever because he just wanted to knee him in his Hun face, right? I'd happily take that red. But if Bain comes on for the last 15, 20 minutes to see that out, he could do the job. But my concern is what happens the next game. If Bain has to start, who is the backup keeper? So we've got 2 quality keepers, and then we've got Bain who can do a job for us domestically, but it's what's the repercussions after that. But I want to see Sinisalo get out there and absolutely smash it.
Yeah.
Heavy
I'm
vibes.
not.
I'm looking forward
Sorry,
to seeing how he copes. Go on, Willie, sorry.
Listen, Bain's got a massive mistake in him. We saw that the last time he got a run out against Hibs. He chucked 2 goals in his own net. So for me, I'm not interested in seeing Bain in the Celtic goals again. I would rather see Sinisalo in there and then Toby Olafawemi backing him up. Like, I think Bain's time's all over at Celtic. Like, so, sorry.
Go on.
No, I say I get the point. He does have good saves in him, and he's decent with the ball at his feet. But he has a big mistake in him, and he does lose concentration when he's out of the game for long periods. So for me, I wouldn't want to see Bain anywhere near it. Like.
just having a look at something now, Willie, while you're talking there about the goalkeeper situation. So I'm just looking at who our backups would be from the B team because Oluwayemi's out on loan at Dunfermline, so we're not getting him if we need a backup. So if you've got to go to your B team for a goalkeeper, you're looking at Aidan Rice. That's the only goalkeeper they've got listed there for the B team. The rest are all out on loan. Like you go through it, Oluwayemi's at Dunfermline. Keep scrolling through. Josh Clark's on loan at Air United. Joe Morrison's on loan at Stenasmere. So basically, we've got three of our best young keepers getting games elsewhere now. So yeah, that's what the concern is. Smell the glove. I love a good pun here. Sinisalo ain't finished. He's only 23. Pork Chop Express is saying, think Sinisalo needs to play. Casper won't be here forever, and we need to know how good he really is. Yep. And then Smell the Glove saying, Bain against Sligo Rovers, Bain against Hibs at the end of last season. Jesus wept. Pork Chop Express, 6'3". Geez, he's only about 9 inches bigger than me. Comments here. Nah, he's a good height being 6'3". That's all I have to say. A very good height.
4 inches taller than me.
Same height as me. There you go. Heavy vibes. Fans would be on Bain's back at the first mistake. And Pork Chop Express is saying every keeper's going to have a howler now and again. Every keeper has a mistake, and Casper ain't any different. Like outfield players, it's hard to perform 100% if only getting a game once a season. The other thing as well, though, is when an outfield player makes a mistake, you have teammates out there, to help you win the ball back and cover it. When your goalkeeper makes a mistake, usually it ends up in the back of your neck. So it's a hell of a lot more obvious. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. We'll see that, but I'm hoping we get to see Sinisalo get a run of games. We see what he is all about. And if he does well the rest of the season, and then Casper comes back, Brendan's going to have some questions. Who do I go with? Who starts? Who's my number one next season? And let's see if the forward plan actually works. So we'll watch this space, I suppose.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go to a comment early on here. Smell the glove. CM Punk's Fenian Army, 100%. We got another one for the Tim collection. We're both the best in the world for a certain reason. That's one for the wrestling fans. But yeah, it was good to see another one there. Off the back of that, though, people are saying, are we going to see Celtic and Rangers play a game over in the US, especially if you get the US owners actually go ahead for the Huns? I don't want to be part of it.
Nah, it's not something that would interest me. I mean, they tried it. They were going to do it here in Australia, but the Huns pulled out when they realised they were just the side piece to the whole event, and they spat the dummy out big time, and they're still paying the price of it, so. The chances are we end up over in America, something will go out the way they don't like, and they'll end up pulling out of that as well. But nah, it's not. It's a no from me. I mean, we saw the way the Everton game went down when we all left the stadium. There was no segregation of fans. Fans were just left to find their own way back to the CBD. I mean, if that had been Celtic and Rangers, that would have been absolute carnage. And do the Americans realise the magnitude of the game? Are they going to just say, right, that's the game over, off you go, be peaceful? You know what I mean? No.
Don't work like that. The talk is they're wanting to take an actual league fixture, not a friendly, over there. No. Because what happens? Our away fans, the 2,000 of them won't get access to that. So then they're going to still want tickets to our place? Nah, mate. So it opens up that whole game thing again. So anyway, we'll see what happens there. Next thing is Brendan Rodgers has said that Daisy Maeda is a great symbol for our team and our collective. He brings the highest level of intensity that we want. So with comments like those, does it make sense for Celtic to offer Daisy a new contract? He will have 2 years left on his current contract at the end of this season. So that's usually at that spot where you want to re-up your player and re-sign them. On top of that, Liam's put out an article because usually when you see rubbish in the Scottish media, it's a source from the guy who runs the local fish and chip shop's cousin's blog, right? Who puts up some sort of thing because they spoke to someone at the local totem tennis game. But the thing with this is Liam being in Japan, the Japanese media are actually talking about it too, that he's in negotiations for a new contract. So this could be absolutely spot on. Let's get him signed up long term. He's 26 years old now. Let's get him signed up for his prime on a long term contract. He's our talisman. He's stepped his game up, and I'm happy with that. What do you think, Willie?
Oh, get it done. Get it done. Offer him, if he wants 50, 60,000 a week, give him the 50, 60,000 a week because he's pivotal to everything we do at this moment in time. We can't let a player like Dyson Maeda pass us by, especially when he's at his peak now, 26. You know what I mean? The next 4 years is just going to go from strength to strength for him before he reaches the crescendo and he starts on the way down again. So, it's worth it. Like for me, it's a no brainer. Like, you know what I mean? He could actually go and play in goals, and you probably wouldn't miss a beat in there as well. You know what I mean? Who needs Sinisalo or Bain when Dyson Maeda could go and play that position too? Because he plays everywhere else and he plays it quite competently. Like, you know what I mean? We all thought he might struggle when he moved into the middle because he's seen some of his finishing from out wide. You know what I mean? Some shots were headed over towards by the Green Brigade at times. You're just like, oh, and then you see him going up front, and he's just prolific at this moment in time. Everything he touches turns to gold. So yeah, it's a no-brainer, right?
Him playing through the middle makes the most sense though, because when he has time to think, the ball goes anywhere. It can go in, but it can also be very Ryan Christie-esque, where he just shanks it up into Rose Ed. But playing him through the middle as a striker, yeah, it's a spot-on role for him. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see, how that all plays out and everything. But yeah, give him his new contract. He needs it. I know we were talking about it last Thursday, Willie, about which players we need to keep and everything for the European quota and to develop our squad. And we landed on that we need 8 players for next season. So yeah, I'm pretty keen to make sure he's locked down and he's one of our guys for the main time. Smell the glove is saying, remember, we only got the King of Kings at 26 and we've got 7 magnificent years. Give or take the 1 year for a leg break. So, yeah, exactly. We've already had days into, 4 seasons now? 2 under, or 1.5 seasons under Ange, and this is 1.5 under Brendan so far. So that's 3 seasons we've had him for. Sign him up for another 5. It'll push him through to he's at 31. How many years is that? There you go. It's 8 years. See how he goes.
Testimonial. Thank you very much.
Yep. So we're gonna change pace and talk about some stuff around Celtic for a couple of minutes. But before I do that, I want to give a shout out to a special person who tunes in and watches the pod religiously week in, week out. Luke Hutchinson. Top fella. Seen the photos of you at the derby, mate. Well done. Good to see you up and about going to the game. So I just wanted to give you a shout out. So I appreciate you tuning in. And yeah, hope everything's going well. And if you're on YouTube, obviously those watching, there's a channel called Luke's Gaming where he plays some computer games and stuff on there and Xbox or whatever. Jump on there and check that out too. Support a fellow Tim. So what we'll do is now we're going to go to the section where we might lose some people tuning in. We're going to talk about Neil Lennon. So Neil Lennon's been appointed Dunfermline manager. So I want to break this down into 2 parts. The signing that he just made, we'll talk about next. But I want to talk about, I mentioned the goalkeepers who are out on loan at the moment. So we've got Oluwayemi at Dunfermline. We have Josh Clark out at Ayr, and we've got one of the other guys out at Stenhousemuir. Now, we always talk about the guys, trying to figure out the easiest way to sum it up. We always talk about the pathway for the guys from the B team to the first team being massive. So what I'm wanting to know, Willie, is will Lenny being appointed Dunfermline manager, if he does well, keeps them from getting relegated down to League One, and then gets that 3-year extension? Do you think Dunfermline would make a good feeder club for Celtic players moving forward? Like, would it be a good pathway for our B team players in the future so that they're getting experience in senior football, not in the Lowland League, before looking to come up? What are your thoughts on that?
I would say yes. It's hard to say no to something like that because we do need that sort of natural pathway for the players to come past the Lowland League. There's nobody. We haven't got anyone sort of feeder team in be League One, I suppose, which would be jump League Two into League One and then try and get them into the Championship. So for me, getting players into any of these divisions and trying to get them to progress is always going to be good for them, and it's going to be good for us. I would like to see Celtic get the B team up to that level and not get any higher than that because they work together well as a team. But I mean, Lenny knows Lawwell quite well, and he's quite friendly with Brendan, so Brendan might be able to turn around it. It's like, this is all if buts and maybes and that. Like, looking at Dunfermline's fixtures, I actually think they will stay up, and I think Lennon will give them that sort of personal belief that they can go ahead and do it. But yeah, to get some players, yeah, I mean, Turley could go out there next season on loan. You could maybe look at sending Dane Murray down there for the season to try and get a bit of match experience, or Toby Oluwayemi. You know what I mean? If we're not going to use him as number 3, we could send him out there for another season on loan because right now they're not having a great season and it's not good for morale. But if Neil Lennon stays there next season and morale goes up and they start putting together a challenge for a promotion, whether it be via the playoffs or they make the right kind of signings and can push for an automatic promotion, then that breeds confidence in the players. And we all know that's the kind of state of mind we need our players to be in, is that confident sort of mindset.
Yeah, 100%. I think it would be a good option for us, but yeah, it's gonna. But at the same time, could be partner with Bruni's team, but then they're probably going to come up if my memory is right. How they're going, so yeah, it could be an interesting one. It's going to be Lenny versus Bruni on the weekend as well, as Mickey Moynihan saying here, 3 p.m. on Saturday, and we had the similar comment up here as well. Smell the Glove is saying Bruni versus Lenny this weekend. It'll be interesting. See if there's any fireworks on the touchline between them. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. I think, yeah, it's going to be. I think it's a good opportunity to try and get a pathway, as you said, Willie. If we get, I don't think League Two we should be looking at getting someone there. But if we can get a team in League One as a feeder and a team that's consistently in the Championship as a feeder, that's great. That's the ideal world for us to help get our guys through. So, yeah, we'll see how that all plays out. But Lenny has signed Victor Wanyama. So he's left Montreal. And there's a bit of discussion online. It's probably the easiest way, and in our group chat. But one of the things that we wanted to discuss here is there's going to be talk of us signing Wanyama as a backup next season if he performs well at Dunfermline. Now, I've seen that on Twitter and Blue Sky in particular, and I want to know what your thoughts are on that, Willie. Should we be keeping tabs on him for the rest of the season? Do you think he could do a job for us as a backup midfielder next year?
I'd have to say no because of his age. I think that's a place we could be looking to get a younger player into the squad. Who do you sacrifice for that place? Does Luke McCowan go further down the pecking order? I mean, he's okay at a certain level. Does someone like Francis Turley, you know what I mean, or Bonner, you know what I mean, they're starting to make their way towards the first team. Are they going to sort of go down the pecking order because Wanyama's come in? He'll be 34 next season, and from judging by the form that was shown at Montreal towards the end, I think he's kind of let go. So he's got a lot of ground to cover if he's going to try and aim to be a Celtic player again. I just think it's too much ground for him to cover, to be
His
honest.
last 11 games at Montreal, he was on the bench, an unused sub on the bench for 5 of them, and then the last 6 games he was not even in the match day squad. So I'm looking at it going, I agree, Willie. I don't think we should be doing it. Why bring in someone to clog up the pathway for one of our young kids coming through? I would rather we're being linked with a guy who played with Engels at Augsburg, his defensive midfielder who plays for the Kosovo national team. So we're being linked with a number 6. There's another guy we're talking about from France. Last week we're talking about. I think our scouting team's going to be looking for someone who can actually make an impact and rotate rather than. Realistically, I'm going to say it. If we're going to sign Wanyama, who's next? Near Biton? Give him that 10th year at the club so he can get his testimonial. It's a no for me.
It's a no from me as well. Like, I'm afraid, much as I loved Wanyama as a player when he played for us, for the short duration he was there, he was great. He was fantastic. He was strong in the challenge. He was fearless. But that's 10 years ago. You know what I mean? It's a long time ago. Like,
We've been talking about it on the pod and just in general at CSCs and that since Wanyama left to go down to Southampton. We need to find our next Wanyama. You rattled through it. Abui Kawasi was in there. There was some guy we got from Kilmarnock. I can't even remember now. There was So we've gone through a bunch of defensive midfielders. We brought in Abel Gard. We brought in heaps, and it's churn and burn. And I'd rather bring through a good young midfielder from our club like Bonner, like Turley, and give them the odd game here and there. If you're going to give Wanyama one game in every 5, I'd rather give that to a young kid. So, smell the glove saying it's a total no from me. Who would be next? Paddy Roberts.
the guy from Kilmarnock, was he not leaking the team squads before
Yeah,
the
it was
game under Lenny?
allegedly he was the one who leaked. You know that piece of paper that had who our targets were one off season, and it had Joe Aribo on there and a bunch of other players. Apparently, he was the guy who leaked that.
Can't mind his name. I can see his
Allegedly,
face now.
yeah. I'll figure it out. We'll remember
Yeah.
as soon as we're off the air, Willie. We'll finish this, and then you'll be like, "Oh, it was this guy," and I'll be like, "Yeah, I know. It always happens."
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one, but yeah, I wish them all the best. There's already talk of Lenny looking to sign a few more old boys next season if they survive and don't get the drop. Guys like Gary Hooper's already been linked with him as well. So, yeah, that'll be an interesting one. So, comment section. Are you ready to get punchy? Because this next topic, this could go all over the place. The BBC has listed their top 10 biggest British clubs on their website. So what they did was they polled 250 staff members and asked them who the 10 biggest clubs are in Britain. So I'll read through their list. I think they've got it a bit wrong, and we'll go through this, Willie. So they've listed Man United number 1, Liverpool number 2, Arsenal number 3, Man City number 4, Celtic number 5, Chelsea number 6, Tottenham number 7, Rangers number 8, Aston Villa number 9, and Newcastle United number 10. So, have a little think on that, Willie. I'm going to go to an article that Liam wrote on this on the Axon blog. So there's a little plug for you, Liam. But what I wanted to go, his thing was Arsenal and Man City bigger than Celtic. Who are you kidding, BBC? So if I'm going through all of this, and I agree with this, biggest club in Britain, their stadium is an absolute dump, but I agree with Man United as the biggest. This is, and what it was all worked out on, just so that I can make sure we've got the right context here. Okay. They've based it on, come on, bloody upload for me. So they based it on a bunch of metrics. They've taken revenue into account. They've taken social media presence, stadium capacity, and league position. That's how they've come across this. So if you go through that list, Man United coming out on top, I have no problem with. Liverpool being second, I have no problem with. I actually think between us and Liverpool, it is ridiculously a bee's dick close. We should be third. And that's not green tinted specs. That's just trophies we've won. We've won a European Cup. We don't have the TV money that everyone else has, but us as fans, we pour our money into the club. We're sitting on coffers of cash. We play a Champions League team. All this, we've got a good squad that there's player value. If we sell someone, they're going to get a good fee for them, right? So you go through all of that. But the ones I find little bit of nonsense, right, is how's Tottenham in there? Honestly, how's Tottenham in there and Nottingham Forest aren't? That's my number one. Nottingham Forest got 2 European Cups. They got the Brian Clough era. I know everyone's thinking about now. The people working at the BBC probably don't even know about that. Some of them. I've got another one that I think should be in there, potentially, if we're going to go back in the history of it all. And I hate this club, but dirty Leeds United under Don Revie. Look what they did back in the day. They were successful winning League Cups and doing, all sorts of stuff too. They're a bigger club than Tottenham in their overall history. They're bigger than Rangers in terms of their overall history. So, yeah. And who are the 49ers own at the moment? Leeds. Who'd be the feeder team for Leeds? Rangers. There you go. I'm just trying to wind them up. So, Willie, I want to get your thoughts on it before we'll go through and give our actual top 10s.
Yeah, I mean, it's the BBC. They've obviously got their bias towards English clubs. I mean, are Arsenal and Man City better teams than Celtic? Yes. Are they bigger clubs than Celtic? No, absolutely not. Like, I mean, you look at Arsenal and Man City stadiums. Arsenal's got to move to the Emirates. It's about the same size as Celtic Park, but it's half the noise. You know what I mean? They call it the library. If away fans go there for a wee afternoon siesta in London, it's the most peaceful place to be on a Saturday at 3 p.m. Man City, well, their fans are non-existent at times. I mean, their fans just came out when
There you go.
Arsenal just sort of drifted out from the title contention. All their fans just went out and bought light blue tops and went to start supporting City because they had a bit more money. There's a lot of glory hunting goes on down there. I mean, you know what I mean? Teams like Tottenham Hotspurs, they're they're a decent sized team. They have a big, reasonable fan base. They've got a massive stadium, beautiful stadium, and that But are they bigger than Rangers? I'd say no. Like, you know what I mean? Chelsea's another club. They've just manufactured their own success through paying money that they didn't actually have. You know what I mean? Roman Abramovich came in and emptied his pockets. If the financial fair play rules were in place when Sky first started pumping all that billions into English football, would it be as successful as it is now? Absolutely not. I agree with Man United and Liverpool being 1 and 2, but for me as well, I would say Celtic would be 3, and much as it bugs me to say it, I would have Rangers at 4.
I wouldn't have Rangers at 4 for one simple reason. Because what history are they basing it on? They've only been around for 13 years.
Well,
A 13-year-old club being there, I think being in 10th would actually be a fair spot for them.
But
So,
then
as Pork Chop Express is saying here, old Rangers maybe, but new Rangers are minnows in the football world. They've got the support, and that's about it. But Pork Chop Express also said Spurs were the first English side to win a European trophy domestically. They're a cup-winning club more than league, although they've won nothing for years now. Yeah, almost 40 years.
what is it? It says there, look, they've won 12, 15, 17 trophies in total. You know what I mean?
We got 101 more than them.
We've won more than that this decade.
Yep. So yeah, so going through it all, like yeah, it's a bit of an interesting one here. So I actually think Aston Villa's copping a hard slog there because people forget that Villa has won a European Cup. Birmingham's not really a massive football area, so I think they're higher. I think Celtic are better than all the London clubs listed on there in terms of a bigger club. Not necessarily a better team, but the bigger club than all the London teams in there. So it's a bit of a funny one, but yeah, I'll just like Liam's top 10 here. He's dropped Tottenham out of it completely, and he's put it as Man United first, Liverpool and Celtic are tied second. He's got Aston Villa next, that'd be fourth. West Ham, he's moved them. Were they in the list? I don't think they were. But then their background and everything with the whole English World Cup winning team, and was it Bobby Charlton and all that? Was he there or no? Bobby Moore. Sorry, I almost said the wrong one there. But West Ham, Arsenal, he's got Nottingham Forest, Newcastle United are in there. Like the thing I look at with Newcastle is they haven't won a lot. They're just like Tottenham. They haven't won a lot. But the thing is, Newcastle is a real football club to me. They're losing. They get relegated and they're still selling out their stadium. So for me, I got no problem with Newcastle still being in the top 10. He's got Rangers at 9th, Man City at 10th. So yeah, it's a bit of a doozy there. What do you think your top 10 would be, Willie? You're on mute, Willie.
I'd have to agree with Man United at top. I would have Liverpool second, Celtic third, and like I say, I would probably put Rangers fourth, Arsenal fifth, Nottingham Forest and Villa sixth equal. Aye, and then where do you go from there? Because I'm not I'm not a massive English. I've lost touch with English football. So I mean, Everton, they've been in the Premier League for years. They've won trophies. You know what I mean? They've flirted with relegation and that, but they've got a decent fan base. They don't really get a mention in this list. I wonder how many trophies they've won over the years. Like,
I've got an interesting one for you, Willie.
Yeah.
Blackburn.
Yeah, there's a bit of
their supporter base is one that's, doesn't get anywhere near attention, but they tend to have a pretty full stadium most weeks. Sunderland's got a good support. There's a whole heap of clubs. Southampton, good support. There's a whole bunch of things here. So it gets messy. When you get to 7, 8, 9, 10, it's all personal preference. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah. I mean, you could make an argument for a lot of English teams to be in there ahead of the likes of who else was on that list? Aston Villa, Chelsea. You could make a lot of arguments for teams who have had success in the past. There's a lot of recency bias in that list that's there. You know what I mean? I think you say that the teams from the northeast. You've got the Sunderlands. You've got the Newcastle as well. The pretty successful team, big fan base in their own right. You know what I mean? So there's a lot. As I say, I'm not sort of au fait with English football as I once was, and the success levels of them all. It's just, it's difficult to say.
So for me, I'll go my top 10 then. Man United would be 1, Liverpool 2, Celtic 3. 4, I would be going Nottingham Forest because of their long-term history. 5 would be Villa. 6 would be Leeds. Then we get into the rest from here. So then it would be like your Arsenal, your Chelsea, your Man City, your Rangers, your Newcastle United, and so on. Like after that, as I said, you get to 6, 7, you can just rattle it off. I go probably 12, 13 deep easily. But yeah, definitely not Rangers in 8th. Definitely not us in 5th. We should be 3rd. They should be probably 10th. That's giving them friendly. That's being generous to them. Smell the gloves saying clubs like Bournemouth have a 12k stadium and live off Sky TV money. Yeah, that's the worst part of that bloody league. take that money out and watch how trash they are. Anyway,
Mhm.
we'll leave that there. And yeah, a bit of a interesting discussion point. I found it interesting anyway.
Yeah,
So our next game, Willie, we're playing Hearts on Saturday. I think it is, if my maths was right. How are you feeling heading into the game?
confident, very confident. I think Hearts are going to get absolutely scalped. It's at Parkhead. We come off a horrible defeat. Um, yeah, I think it's time to just go out and get the ball rolling again. Start afresh. You know what I mean? Get another. See if we can go on for another run from now until the end of the season without losing any games. That's all you can do. You know what I mean? We've got our injuries ahead of the game, so there's going to be chances for somebody to come in and play in the centre midfield. Will they change that up a little bit? But yeah, I'm feeling confident on this one.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. I was just trying to look up then is Calmac back for this game or not. So I don't think he is from what I've heard. So we're down a couple of leaders, but it's a good opportunity for guys to step up in their place. So yeah, it's going to be a an interesting one for me going into the game. I'm thinking our guys would have been seething after the last result going into the break. Well, I hope they were because us as a fan base have been. And yeah, we can get out there and we lost to the Huns. Let's beat the Diet Huns. Absolutely smash them. Give them a scalping and get it back to resume service as normal. That's the way I look at it. So I think we'll be game plan ready to get out there and play our game. I want to play some fast flowing football. What do you think will be the key areas to focus on in the game, Willie?
I think looking at the way the boy, I can't remember his name now, it's disappeared in my head, the manager that's there, he seems to play a 4-3-3, and it's a kind of narrow 4-3-3. So I think there could be success in the wide areas. They use the two fullbacks, Forrester and Penrice, to try and get a bit of width in there. But I think we can get a bit of joy. I think Kuhn and Maeda, if they're fully fit and firing all cylinders, like I think we can really get at this Hearts team. They play Shankland just off the front too as well, so you're going to have somebody in the sort of whoever's playing in the sixth. They're just going to have to sort of keep an eye on Shankland's movement, which isn't going to be great. He's not the most mobile player in the world. So yeah, I think this is a Hearts team, and I think it's a setup that the Hearts team have that we can get at. Like, so for me, the wide areas is what it's going to be about. Like I say, Hearts they seem to have that sort of narrow sort of side to the midfield, so we can get in there.
Yeah, the manager is Neil Critchley.
Critchley, that's the one now.
So yeah, I'm thinking, yeah, the space in this game and the game plan's got to be to absolutely slaughter them on the wings.
Joseph
So
Malumbu is the other one.
that's the one. He would have come back at some point. Yeah, so I think we've got to slaughter them on the wings. Like this game is set up for Kun and Jota just get out there and, on the wide open spaces of Celtic Park, give their fullbacks an absolute torrid time. Now, Dazen and Rio being on international duty, coming back, I think this is a game we'd probably see Eder start. I want to see how he goes. I think having Dazen in your back pocket to come off the bench, he's just travelled back from Japan, will be a nice little luxury to have, and then
Yeah.
get him all fresh and fit for the following week. So yeah, it could be a bit of an interesting one for us. Are you expecting this to be a high scoring match, Willie, or are you thinking it was going to be a tough slog?
And I think we'll win 3 or 4-0. Actually, like I say, the more I look at the Hearts team and the way they set up, the more I sort of think, yeah. And then I remember, Jota's back as well. So Jota and Kuhn not away in any international football, so they've had a bit of a breather. So yeah, I think we'll get at least 3 goals in this one.
I think the breaks come at the right time for Kun. He's looked a little leggy the last 3 or 4 games. So yeah, him getting a a good 10, 14 days off, whatever it is, and just do some training, some recovery, whatever is going to do him the world of good. Also for Jota, like just gives him a more chance to just get in the gym, build up his fitness, put a bit of. Hopefully, he's been doing some good eating, and put on a little bit more muscle back onto him again because I think he's looked a little lightweight, but he's still, got those dancing feet and everything. And yeah, we'll get out there and should smash him. I think we should put at least 4 past him.
Uh-huh.
Which Celtic players do you think will have the biggest impact on us winning the game, Willie? I've said it's going to be the wingers.
Yeah, I think wingers too, but midfield as well. I mean, getting the ball from the centre out to the wide areas. So Engels is another one. Benny Beningame, he plays in the middle for them. He's a bit of a handful, but nah, I think Engels could be key again.
I think the three key positions for us are the two wingers and whoever plays in the six in this game.
Yeah,
If the six can screen the centre backs well and do a good job doing that, and then the wingers we can exploit the space out wide and get a ball out from the middle of the park and just launch it out there. Off we go. So I think those are going to be the three players with the biggest impact for us. What's your expected starting lineup?
starting lineup for me will be Sinisalo, Johnson, CCV. I think Trusty's back, so I'll put him in there with Schlup at left back, Hatati, Engels, McCowan, Jota, Ida, and Kuhn.
Okay, so for me, the question marks are: is it Schlupp or Taylor at left back? Are our left-sided centre backs back and fit? So are Scales and Trusty back? And then who plays the six? I think they're the three big question marks going into it. We've already discussed the goalkeeper situation. So yeah, I look at it and go, it's going to be Sinisalo in goals. It's going to be Schlupp. It's going to be, this is if everyone's fit, Trusty, CCV, and then Johnston on the right. Middle of the park, it'll be Engels in the six. It'll be Luke. Rio didn't really play too much in the last game for Japan, so he might be a bit jet lagged, but he shouldn't be physically drained. So I think we can start Rio, and if we need to later in the game, take him off and put on, say, Bonner or someone like that if Bernardo's not back and Kelmack's not back. And then up front, Ida starts, Jota and Kun either side of him. That's the way I look at it. And our score prediction, it's going to be 4-0 at half time, and then we're just going to cruise the rest of the way through. So we'll win the game 5-0. What's your score prediction, Willie?
3-0 for me, 2-0 at half time, with Ida and Jota scoring in the first half and Kuhn getting the third in the second.
Yeah, I'll say my inside half. So we've got 5 goal scorers, 5 goals. It's going to be Ida's going to have a double. Jota's going to score one. Engels is going to score a penalty. And then to finish it off, Maeda will come off the bench and score. But yeah, at this point at the end of the season, as Smell the Glove saying, I'd take any win. Guess the key thing is we get the 3 points on the board, wind the season down till it's won. But yeah, definitely, I think we can get out there and absolutely thump these guys. So, end of each pod, we have our final thought. So, Willie, do you need thinking time or are you good to go?
Nah, I'll say mine now. Mine's is just a shout out. I played for a team up here, Western City Rangers, a couple of games, and the right back who played in the team ended up with bowel cancer, and I met him in the supermarket today. And he's fought the cancer, and he's getting back to work, and he's well on the road to recovering. I was over the moon to see that. So fair play to you, Big Shane. Heart goes out to you, mate. Like,
Legend. Keep fighting the good fight, mate. So, my final thought then, we're going to go from some serious stuff to a bit of a light-hearted one. So, my one is the more things change, the more they stay the same. So, if you didn't see, Alfredo Morelos is now back playing in Colombia. And in his latest game, the opposition goalkeeper was calling him fat, trying to push him off, put him off things, and he got a red card for it. So, never change, Morelos, never change. So yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. We appreciate you spending some time with us on your Thursday. Hope you all enjoy the game on the weekend. Thanks for stopping by and hail hail.
hail, hail.